Way to go here.
There's been at that point now with our boxing analyst, Alex Wallow. Alex, it looks to me like it's a virtual whole new crop as we look ahead and start getting ready for 1988.
It really is, Keith. Following the 76 Olympics and the 1980 Olympics, the professional boxing took the cream of the U.S. amateur team. But following the 84 Olympics in Los Angeles, professional boxing took really the milk as well. I mean, 38 of the top 50 American fighters, amateur boxers, have left amateur boxing, mostly turned professional. This is obviously something that the Cubans, the Soviet Union, the Eastern Bloc countries don't have to contend with. They have tremendous continuity in their programs. So national coaches Pat Nappy and Roosevelt Sanders are here in Beaumont looking to find the talent necessary to do a big rebuilding job looking ahead towards 1988 and Seoul, Korea.
Among those coming this year for this 98th tournament, 9 defending champions, and you're looking at one of them right there, Arthur Johnson at 112 pounds, defending against Kennedy McKinney, and this is a rematch. Arthur Johnson, 5'7", out of East St. Louis, Illinois, and he is a sophomore at the University of Edwardsville College in Edwardsville, Illinois. The young man across the ring from him, Kennedy McKinney, is looking for redemption because he was stopped by Arthur Johnson in the second round in the finals in 1985. And he's had a very impressive outing so far. They go to the center of the ring now for the referee, Paul Connor. And the fight is on at 112 pounds, flyweights. The height and reach advantage, a little bit of it, goes to the defending champion, Arthur Johnson.
Johnson really is one of the outstanding people on this American boxing scene, Keith. He's just a very strong young fighter, talented, does not use his height and reach, likes to get inside, but really wings with his left hand.
The rules of boxing. You see the white gloves, the white knuckles. You must land that portion of the glove on the opposition in order to score a point. The headgears are a requisite of amateur boxing. The standing 8 count will be administered in the sole judgment of the referee. The referee does not have a ballot in deciding who wins and who loses. There are 5 judges at ringside, and these flyweights are opening at a torrid pace. They are really after each other, and both of them went through tough fights in the semifinals last night. One of the punches that you want to watch for with Arthur Johnson is the left hook. It's sneaky, and it's very effective, and he uses it a lot. But I see in McKinney, Alex, a little more resolve. I think he wants a redemption.
Oh, he is absolutely determined to avenge that defeat in last year's amateurs, Keith. He was ahead in that fight until he got caught in that second round. His coach, Kenny Adams, who's built that tremendous Army boxing team down in Fort Hood, Texas, wants him to keep that right up to avoid just that left hook that you were talking about, and to move away from that left. Keep moving, keep circling to his left.
Good right hand chopped in there by Johnson, and that got the attention of Kennedy McKinney. They've met each other on 2 previous occasions. They know well, and it looks to me like McKinney might be a little wobbly, but he's trying to cover it at least by being aggressive. They fight 3 3-minute rounds.
Arthur Johnson has always shown himself to be a good finisher when he has his man hurt. He's patient, picks his shots. He really is one of the bright hopes. See that bandage on his left knee, Keith. He was hit by a car in East St. Louis when he's 9 years old, and ever since then that knee has been sore, been a problem for him, especially in long tournaments like this.
There's that left hook, and it half spins McKinney. So it's not only noisy, but it's a powerful weapon for Arthur Johnson. His coach is Frank Borders. Combination by Johnson. Good right hand by McKinney. As we go inside 20 seconds of the first round, and sometimes when you're 18, 19 years of age and you're in a pressure-packed circumstance like this, after a hard night last night, 3 minutes can seem like an eternity. Of this 112-pound flyweight championship fight with Kennedy McKinney in the yellow and Arthur Johnson in the blue. And electronics continues to march on in this computerized society. Johnson threw 86 punches in the first round, McKinney 92. Johnson had 22 connect. That means the efficiency percentage of Johnson's punching was 26-22. That is, he landed 4 more punches than did McKinney. Freely translated, that would amount to a 20-19 scoring round for Arthur Johnson. That's as simple as I can say it.
Those statistics, Keith, come from 2 gentlemen behind us who are programming into a computer punches thrown and punches landed with the white portion of the glove. Scoring in boxing is the most inexact science in all of sport. Like any computer, it's only as good as the people programming it.
The barrister from Milwaukee, Paul Connor, who's about to step out of the ring and go on to administrative responsibilities with the Federation. But he's been about a long time. He's been a good long-time friend and a fine gentleman and has done a lot to further the efforts and the development of the U.S. American Boxing Federation. Arthur Johnson stalking his man. Kennedy McKinney losing to Johnson a year ago and really wants to bounce back and claim the gold medal, and he was just stung by a short, sharp right hand from Johnson. The left hand continues to keep McKinney at bay and off balance. Arthur Johnson studying at the University of Edwardsville in Illinois, majoring in child development, if you will.
Very intense, very serious young man, Arthur Johnson, on the right of your screen. He might look like he's showboating. He says he's trying to draw his man into throwing right hand so he can counter with that left.
Well, he got one there. He got 2 to the side of the head from McKinney. But he retaliates with a very strong straight right of his own. Alex, that left hand of Arthur Johnson is as quick as any left hand I've seen in a long time from a 19-year-old.
Especially when he throws the hook. He really wings it when he turns that hook over. He's jabbing a little bit more than we've seen him do in the past, Keith, and Pat Nappy will be happy to see that. He's always wanted Johnson to use his height and reach a little bit more. McKinney's a resilient young man, well-conditioned athlete, and very determined.
His rank is E4. He's a truck driver, stationed in the Army at Fort Hood, Texas. He's got his hands full right now.
He's a little busier here in the second half of round 2 than Johnson is. Johnson may be a little bit too patient, taking a little bit too much time, getting beat to the punch.
End of round 2, 112 pounds. Round 3, and the fight may hang right here, because in looking at these statistics, Alex, one would surmise that McKinney won the round.
Johnson threw more, according to this. McKinney landed more. That 10-point differential would translate into a 3-point difference, theoretically.
No way.
There's no way in the world that was a 3-point round.
My own sense, sitting here watching it, I felt Johnson still had control. Even though McKinney closed with a flourish, it was Johnson who landed the more authoritative punches, especially in the middle of the round. But that's the way the pros think. That's not the way it's done.
I think I succumbed to the closing second theory, where McKinney came on so strong in the end of the round. That's what I remembered. I gave it a 1-point round. I have it even right now.
The 5 judges who must decide the winner, the gold medalist of the flyweight for 1986, Stan Hamilton, Floyd East, Chet Como, Everett Vanderveer, and Sue Kane. They have been amongst the judges. And double-checking, I see Ernie Filippelli, Gene Reese, Charles Richard, Wood Marcus, and Tony Johnson are now at ringside. So they turn the judges over every bout, and they rotate their way into the ring, much in the same manner as you rotate umpires in baseball. Everybody moves a chair at a time, and everybody gets a chance.
Arthur Johnson was a clear favorite coming into this fight. He's just laying a good right hand. Snapped McKinney's head back and might have hurt him a little bit.
McKinney comes back off the ropes and lands a right of his own, but Johnson is right in front of him, digging hard to the body, and a wicked left to the face of McKinney by Johnson.
I was going to say, Johnson was a clear favorite. He's let McKinney into this fight. But Connor stops it right there. Warns him for talking to his opponent.
Can't coach and can't talk in amateur boxing.
But in the closing seconds, Arthur Johnson, I think perhaps realizing the fight was closer than he expected it to be, has turned it on. Right now he's in control of the fight.
Arthur Johnson of East St. Louis trying to repeat in the flyweight division. He had a goodly amount of success at 106 pounds before he grew up to 112. Good left hand by McKinney. Johnson comes back with a combination. Now Johnson does get busy. Of course, going back to what you said a moment ago, you want to make sure that last 30 seconds is busy, especially since this is the end of the fight. And we're now inside 30 seconds.
That was vintage Arthur Johnson. Dug 2 lefts to the body, came up top, finished with a right hand. Now he's stalking his man. Still has to let his hands go a little bit more. I'm really surprised he hasn't been as busy as he has been in earlier fights, both in this tournament and his past career.
The final seconds ticking away. Johnson throwing the punches, trying for the gold medal for a second straight year. Good fight. Kennedy McKinney and Arthur Johnson, and we'll have the decision at 112 pounds in just a moment. Gold medal at 112 pounds.
Is in the red corner, Arthur Johnson from St. Louis, Missouri.
So Arthur Johnson repeats as the national champion in the flyweight division. 112 pounds in a good fight against an old foe, Kennedy McKinney. We'll be back with more live action at the U.S. Amateur Boxing Championship. But first, Jim Lampley with ABC Wide World of Sports anniversary moment. He has defeated one of the top Soviet fighters at 156 pounds. And of all the fighters in the world, I would say to you, the Soviets are always tough at 156 pounds. So it is Thomas Tate, who was a little bit overweight when he came into the tournament at a pound and a half. He's in the red, and in the black is Michael Moorer. And this, Alex Wallow, could be a very good fight.
Thomas Tate in the red on the left of your screen right now, Keith, really is the best story coming out of this tournament thus far. Frank's younger brother by a year, as you said. He came into this tournament with his coach, Faris Purify, just to get some experience. This is his first national tournament. Purify, the coach, is absolutely shocked that Tate beat Kevin Bryant last night in the semifinals, who's not only the best American light middleweight, but maybe the best light middleweight in the world. Tate beat him relatively easily, controlled the fight, and here he is in a final, not just to get experience, but maybe to get a title.
Yeah. Michael Moorer, on the other hand, Charles Garner, his semifinal opposition last night, retired after 2 rounds, having been down a couple of times and rather thoroughly pummeled. And Charles caved in after 2. So Moorer had a very good outing last night. I think the principal weapon, and it's surprising, the more you watch Tate, the more you realize he gets very good leverage on his left hand. But I think his principal weapon is that short looping right hand that he loves to bring over the top.
He used it very well last night against Kevin Bryant to score that upset. I'm a little bit surprised he's not moving more right here, Keith. He's playing right into Moorer's hands. The one thing that the inexperience of Thomas Tate,
the big gun right there of Moorer, he just missed.
A big factor will be Tate's inexperience may give him problems against the left-hander. He may not know how to handle left-hander as well as others might.
Well, we've got this peculiar thing here where I'm not sure about what his coach would like to keep him at home. He might not want to send him up to Reno in the middle of May to run in some of those tough European or maybe a Korean boxing.
That's exactly right. Faris Purify told us this morning that if Thomas Tate wins and thereby qualifies on the first step towards qualifying for the World Championships next month, he will recommend that Thomas not go. He just doesn't think he's ready. But he says he'll leave the final decision up to Thomas Tate.
Well, if he wins here today against this fellow Moorer, you know Thomas has got to say, yeah, hey, where's my ticket?
That's exactly right.
I mean, you've got to. He might get tattooed, but he would also be he obviously is declared in a learning process, so perhaps I'm just almost certain that he would agree to go on. But right now, his principal problem is a fellow named Moorer who's got a bloody nose right now.
Yeah, that left hand, that left jab is tattooed Moorer pretty good.
A lot of punches thrown by Tate here in the early going, and that's really right there the first time that he has gotten wild at all, as we are now in the final seconds of round number 1, 156 pounds. To round 2, 156 pounds light middleweights in the red, Thomas Tate. In the black shirt, Michael Moorer. It's been an action-packed fight from the beginning. Tate seemingly taking the edge in the final minute of the first round. In case you'd like to know who the referee is, I'll tell you. His name is Stan Hamilton. I call him the Knoxville Bear. He doesn't play pool, though. but he is a fine referee. You know why? Because you never notice him. He's very, very inobvious, and that's always a good sign. Spinning around, more caution for that. Hard. Look at that. Tate stick that right hand in the stomach of Moore. Good belly shot by Tate.
Michael Moore is not a fancy Dan. He's a very hard-working fighter. Worked his way up through the junior ranks. He doesn't waste punches. Is much more economical with his punches than most amateur fighters. His problem right now is he's letting Tate take the play away from him. He's letting Tate get off first, consistently beat him to the punch with lefts like that.
Tate throwing more punches, being the busier fighter, and the 5 judges at ringside will certainly take that into account. Elmo Adolph, Lester Hebert, Chuck Williams, Rafael Ramos, and Emma Robinson. Yes, a lady who's been judging amateur boxing for 10 years.
Tate looks a little bit tired here, Keith. These last few punches he's missed badly.
Well, he threw over 100. The guesstimate was in the first round. Mora gets tougher as the time wears on. The third round, he will be tougher than he was in the second round. And we'd like to alert our local stations that at the end of this round, we will take the station break. Frank Tate is Olympian older brother. Relatively quiet, sitting across the way. He's beginning now to be heard. Oh, look at here. Good exchange there, with the gloves flicking off one another and reducing the impact of either blow.
Ernest Purify says Thomas Tate is a thinking fighter, that he'll use his brain, that he'll outsmart Michael Moore. And right now, up to the middle of this round, halfway through the fight, he has been doing that. But Moore's heavier punches are starting, I think, to wear Thomas down a little bit. Although he's still busy, still scoring.
Well, Kevin Bryant against Tate last night had a little trouble. Tate's willing to give you some ring. He'll give up the real estate, but then he'll stop and stick you. And when he sticks you, you know he's there.
And that was Frank's style as well. Frank always gave ground. Remember the final against Sean O'Sullivan in Los Angeles? Frank backed up through most of the fight, but he was able to score backing up.
There's a solid left hand straight to the jaw of Tate by Moore. He didn't get the spot he was looking for. He got the inside instead of the outside. And we'll be back with more of ABC's Wide World of Sports after this from our local stations. Here we go to the final round. And Moore opens with a solid left, and Tate, they worked on him last night a little bit. He tends to get that hand open and he'll hook it once in a while, and they don't like it. And each time he has been cautioned about it. But again, remember that this is a learning process for him, and he has really been a surprise. Mora now is starting to get him with that left hand, though I've got to suggest to you that Tate's left hand wasn't too tacky either. It's a close fight.
Yeah, very, very close fight. I actually have Tate winning both of the first 2 rounds, but they were almost close enough you could score them even.
I thought Mora came on strong in the last minute of the second round. And again, he's scoring inside here now. He's reaching Tate some with that short stuff inside.
Good left by Thomas Tate. I almost said Frank Tate. I thought he would have done it more often. Good short chopping left inside.
Oh, there's that left hand by Moore again. He nailed him twice with it. Tate the first time seemed to blink, but the second time he had his head right back in the mill.
Michael's a little bit bothered by that nosebleed. You see him pawing at it. Affected his concentration slightly.
Tate, good right hand, following a sharp left jab.
This is a fight that if you were scoring under professional rules, you probably would have had Michael Moore winning the first 2 rounds. He scored the heavier punches.
Yep. There's a combination by Moore, another one by Moore. Thomas Tate must be careful now in the final minute. You can score a lot of points in the final minute, and you know Tate's tired now because his mouthpiece almost came out. In fact, it did, didn't it?
No, I think he got it back. Yeah.
It almost came out.
It was close.
That mouth drops open like that, it is called fatigue.
Yeah, he needs air. He'll harden up as time goes along. He'll develop that stamina. He doesn't have it right now. And Michael Moore will also. He's still just relatively a baby. They're both, Moore has a little bit more experience, but they're both relatively untried. Although Michael Moore, a little cosmetics, Michael Moore did look very good earlier this year in a couple of dual meets with the USSR. Won one, lost one, but he showed he could hold his own at the international level.
If this age is correct, 1967, Moore is the younger of the two by a year.
He's Pat Nappy's kind of fighter.
No foolishness.
Exactly.
Get right to it.
Listens well, works very hard.
Tate with a flurry. Moore comes back. 15 seconds to go. 156 pounds light middleweight, and it's been a war from the opening bell. Trading. Both showing guile. But perhaps more importantly, both showing courage. It's over. So we'll wait for a moment for the decision. Tough fight, Michael Moore and Thomas Tate. The computer get very interesting. You see, Tate threw the greater number of punches, but connected only one more time than did Moore, whereas Moore's percentage is much higher. Who then was the dominant fighter? Who won the close one? Here's the call.
In the blue corner, Michael Moore.
With fewer punches, he got his job done. It has to do with a sense of authority, the sense of control, and Moore wins it. Alex, you have the cards.
Yeah. I'm looking at the scorecards here. It was 3-2 Moore, and it couldn't be much closer.
Well, I had it scored dead even in points and in the sense of control, the sense of win, because you don't have draws in amateur boxing. I had given it to Moore. It was that kind of a fight. Back in Beaumont, and the 98 U.S. Amateur Boxing Championships marching right along on this Saturday afternoon. Tomorrow we'll be bringing you the Santa Anita Derby, which is one of those very important stops along the way to the Run for the Roses. And today, some rather important 3-year-old races held across the country. Looking live for this fight of the U.S. Amateur Boxing Championships. And in the red corner, Jerry Goff, defending champion. Jerry Goff comes from Sauget, Mississippi, out of Biloxi High School. His coach is Sherwood Goff, his father. And he took a tough decision over Bruce Baldwin. The fight was stopped by the referee in the third round, but it was really a rough one. In the blue corner, it's Michael Bent. Michael Bent was the 1984 champion at this weight. He missed the 1985 amateurs. So both these men have gold medals in their possession that say U.S. National Amateur Champion. Let's see what happens today. I know that I sat and watched the Goff fight last night, Alex Wallow, and he was in a bruiser with a big guy from the Army, and has got to be sore as he comes in. He defeated Bruce Baldwin in the final, and Michael Bent took a decision over Orbit Pugh, but it was a 5-0 decision.
It's really tough to remember a fight where Jerry Goff hasn't been in a war. He just tends to make very tough fights for himself, relatively easy to hit, throws a lot of punches. The clear favorite is Michael Bent on the left of your screen right now. Since the 1984 Olympics, Michael has really been, I think, one of the bright spots in this U.S. team. And he's unusual because he's one of the heavier fighters, so we generally are weaker in the heavyweight categories, but Michael really has established himself as somebody to be reckoned with. At the World Cup, which was last year's big international tournament, he lost on points to the Russian Yugubkin in the semifinals, and he really wants to win this national title, not only to be the champion of the United States, but also to qualify for the Worlds and go back and get Mr. Yugubkin and win himself a world championship.
Well, that's what, based on what I've seen the last 2 years from Alexander, would be a considerable chore, because he's been the dominant fighter at 200 pounds, or the 201, which is the heavyweights. You go beyond 201, it's the super heavyweights. And right now, Michael Bent is sort of having his way with Jerry Goff. He's got a very good left hand, a short little quick hook, and a rather strong jab, but he's able to transfer a goodly amount of authority into the body with either hand.
Which is something new for him, Keith. You remember earlier at his appearances in amateur bouts, he's been primarily a jab and a straight right hand to the head person. But he said that he didn't use his left hand as much in the early rounds. I said, why not? He said he wants to work inside more, thinks he has to be a body puncher.
He senses Goff in trouble. He goes after him. He hooked him with the left hand. He saw Goff wink. And Goff back on the ropes now. Better get out of there, because I'll tell you right now, Bent is measuring him, and he finally bounces off the rope. Jerry Goff is in some trouble here with almost a minute to go in round number 1. There's that left, and there's the right, and Ed Urbeck, the referee, will deliver an 8 count to Jerry Goff.
I'll tell you something, Michael Bent has developed into a punishing body puncher quicker than anybody I can imagine.
I believe the body punches have done the most damage. Certainly they brought his hands down where he was able to nail him with that left hook. Goes back to the body.
Yeah, that was
and
too
now
low.
Eddie Urbeck says, get him up, Michael. That was below the red belt line.
Michael Bent feels that Jerry Goff really was just holding his national title for him. Michael took some time off after losing that World Cup, did not compete in last year's amateur, and Goff won it.
This one may not go the distance.
Stop!
Final seconds of round number 1. Heavyweights. Jerry Goff and Michael Bent. Michael Bent in the all blue, the dark shirt. Jerry Goff in the white shirt. And the punch stat information from the first round indicating you can clearly see the round belonged to Bent. I gave it to Bent by 2 points.
Yeah, I had it by 3. He was, left hook. I'm surprised Eddie Urbeck didn't give Goff a standing 8 count. He was hurt by that left hook.
That's the 3rd time in the fight that he has been shaken by that left hook. Look at that right to the body.
Jerry Goff is dead game. He'll hang in there as long as he possibly can. He's just taking tremendous punishment from Michael Bent, who looks very, very sharp.
Pretty good right hand by Goff, but he paid for it. As Bent nailed him with the right on the way in.
Right now, Michael, I think, might have punched himself out a little bit temporarily, Keith.
Goff is a gamer. I thought Baldwin had him twice last night and could not get it, and Goff eventually won the fight in the 3rd round.
I think right now, Jerry Goff, if he can, should be putting a little bit of pressure on Michael. Make him back up a little bit. I think he needs a little bit of a rest, and that's the time not to let your opponent take a rest when he needs one.
Goff comes with a pretty fair left hand himself, doesn't he?
Michael's
Right hand by Bent.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of headhunting crazy right now. He's forgotten the body that was so effective for him in round 1.
Right. There's another right hand by Bent. A little bit of blood around the eyebrow. Left eyebrow of Goff. I can't, his back's to me, and I'm looking right up into the brightest bank of lights in Texas.
Again, a caution from Ed Urbeck for holding against Michael Bent. Hard to believe Michael would be doing any holding.
There he goes back to the body. The left hook. Working to the body, coming back to the head. Bent's in control of the fight. Though Goff had a flurry early on in round number 2. We're now inside the final minute.
You see a lot of mouthpiece from Michael Bent. He is, I believe, even though he's landed so many more punches, he's a little bit more tired right now.
We know from past experience that Goff was all game. He went to the body and Bent went to the head, and both landed. Now they are both landing with some authority.
Eddie Urbeck looking very closely. You saw him circle around to look into Goff's eyes, still looking at him. He can't believe as we can't believe, as Bent can't believe that he hasn't gone
He's still
down.
standing up there, I know it. But he's tough kid. 10 seconds, round 2. Heavyweights, 201. Actually Bent in at 199. We go now to round number 3, the heavyweights. 201 is the weight limit in this particular category. Bent came in at 199 and Goff came in at 195, and Eddie Urbeck, the referee, wanted him wiped off. Had
And now he wants the doctor to take a look at him.
Wants him to look, I think, at that eye, the left eye, and somewhere in that area, in the eyebrow. The doctor can stop it here. All the doctor's got to do is wag his head and it's over. All right, here we go to round number 3. You were telling me a story about Bent's father.
Michael Bent's father, born in Jamaica, moved to London, Michael moved to Queens when he was 6 years old. Recently won $2 million in the New York State Lottery, which is half the story. The real story is he continues to work as a maintenance worker in the New York City subway system.
He put the money in the bank like he was supposed to. His son is looking pretty good right here, looking for a gold medal. His second at this weight. He won it in 1984.
His son's got some money in the bank also. Yeah. I would hope that Daddy Ben is watching this on a little bit better television set, at least.
I would think so. Oh, Jerry Goff wobbled again, and it was left to the side of the head, followed by a short right from Bent that wobbled Goff. Bent clearly in control of the fight and will win it unless he gets careless. And you don't want to get careless because Goff is a gamer. He's right there in front of you.
Or if he gets totally exhausted from hitting Jerry Goff.
Yeah,
and he is tired. This is good for Michael because he has to be able to fight three-minute rounds when he gets into the international competition. That's really what Yagubkin did to him, just wore him down. He's got to be able to keep his hands up and punch, and right now he needs a rest.
Goff got on him with a combination to the head right there.
Herbeck cautioning Goff for getting his head down too low.
The judges who have the decision to make are Paul Connor, Lyle Aquistad, Spencer Carpenter, James Quickly, and Betty Vascocu.
Well, Jerry Goff came in here determined that he was not going to give up his national title without a fight, and he has not. He's done everything he can. He just is in with a man who has too much talent.
Jerry now clearly showing the impact of Bent's battering, and it goes back to the first round.
First 10 seconds of the first round.
Yeah. Final minute.
Even though Michael hasn't gone to the body in rounds 2 and here in round 3, I really think that body punching in round 1 turned that fight immediately in his favor, allowed him to land the head punches later in round 1. I think that was the key to the fight.
One thing I would say, and of course in anticipating that we might get a chance to see Michael Bent against Alexander Yagubkin in the world competition up in Reno in May. If we do, Michael will have to be busier in the third round than he is now.
He'll have to be in better shape.
Yep. Pretty good right hand there by a dead game Jerry Goff. Inside a half minute now. Time running. They get him that particular position. There goes the mouthpiece of Jerry Goff to the canvas. That's how tired he is.
Sorry.
It's Michael Bent.
Jerry Goff's father.
Jerry wasn't paying any attention to it. He kept walking away from Eddie Herbeck. I thought it was Jerry's too because he clearly looks dead tired right now. But it was Michael.
Sure what Goff said. It's not my sense, it's his. Michael Bent has given everything he has too. Both guys have empty tanks right now. Awful lot of heart on Jerry Goff's part.
Fight's over. We'll have the decision for you. Jerry Goff put on a show in Beaumont. All right, the decision at 2:01.
Results of this heavyweight bout. The winner in the blue corner, Michael Bent.
So Michael Bent is the national champion for a second time at this weight. Won it in 84. He's won it in 86. He accepts his medal here, and he hopefully is on his way into the world tournament where he's looking ahead to having a chance at Yagubkin of the Soviet Union. And now Michael Bent on his way to visit with Alex Wallow.
Michael, I thought the body work that you did in the first round was the key to the fight.
I thought so also. Jerry Goff, he's a good opponent. He was very competitive, but the body shots wore him down.
Are you looking forward to getting a chance back at the Soviet fighter Yagubkin in the Worlds next month?
Yeah, right now it's the only thing on my mind.
What will you do to prepare for that fight?
That's why I did prepare for this fight only a little bit more.
Congratulations to you. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you.
Well, Michael Bent's the heavyweight champion. Stay tuned for your local news and ABC World News Saturday over many of these ABC stations. And we keep talking about the World Championship. Well, that's coming up in the middle of May. And they're coming from all over the world. The Soviets, the East Germans, there is no boycott of this one. And though you're going to see a circumstance again in the world competition where the American team will be very, very young, going against the seasoned international Olympians in many instances, it is still the learning process that has produced so much success for American boxers since 1976. And we invite you to join us.
Me Fuentes. In October of 1985, Fuentes changed from simply being an opponent to being a contender. It happened in his bout versus former IBF world champion Harry Arroyo. Fuentes wound up knocking him dizzy. Suddenly, everyone noticed Sammy Fuentes, the 21-year-old Puerto Rican fighting out of New York, and his left hook, a left hook that can turn a fight around. 10 knockouts have given the punch even more confidence. In Sammy Fuentes, we're also talking about a boxer who throws a lot of punches, often in blinding, powerful combinations. His detractors say Sammy's defense is suspect, but a flashy offense has covered up any deficiency. As a result of what happened in February, Marvin Garris would attest to that. So Fuentes will be tested again on this Sunday in Texas. Junior welterweight bout, an ABC.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Al Troutwig in Corpus Christi for what will be the final show in our Budweiser Professional Boxing Series. Now, on this final Sunday, we expected up until a few weeks ago to see Evander Holyfield take on Eddie Mustafa Muhammad. But Muhammad's hand was hurt and he pulled out. In came Ricky Parkey, and he was in until Tuesday night until a dispute with his management team forced him to withdraw. Then another substitute, and then finally, Jesse Shelby, the Texas Cruiserweight champion, took on Evander Holyfield today. But that will not be our main event. Time permitting, we will show you how Holyfield won that bout in a 3-round knockout over Jesse Shelby. You may have seen on Wide World of Sports yesterday the U.S. Amateur Boxing Championships in Beaumont, Texas. Alex Walu was there, and today he is here doing a little waltz across Texas. Alex, we have the two fighters who weren't expected to be here. They were expected to fight two different fighters this weekend, but now they're together in the wing, and I guess they can't wait to show America on national television their wares.
Well, Evander's misfortune turns out to be a great opportunity for both young men. They are two fresh faces in that exciting lightweight division. And for those of you who are disappointed not to be seeing Evander Holyfield, I can only say you will not be disappointed in the fight. Fuentes and Warren have the styles to make a terrific fight. Both aggressive, both throw punches with both hands. They don't look for singles, they look for home runs all the time. They don't care about defense. Their only defense is their offense, and it really should be a great fight.
Something else that will really enhance the atmosphere here today is the home court advantage, if you will, to Frankie Warren. He grew up in a Hispanic neighborhood here in Corpus Christi. They actually gave him a nickname of Panchito, Little Frankie, and this crowd we have seen today with some of the undercard bouts is going to be very noisy in his support.
This is the first time a Corpus Christi fighter has been on national television. They're all very excited about it. And I know Frankie's very excited about it. He wants to demonstrate what he thinks he's been able to show to the people and just hasn't had an opportunity. And that's just a tremendous style. A lot of people call him a little Joe Frazier. He reminds me of Henry Armstrong, just a nonstop punching machine.
So if a little nervous energy and a lot of desire means great boxing, that's what's ahead for us today. Sammy Fuentes and Frankie Warren live from Corpus Christi.